Thank you for tuning into this episode of BoxBox, Bot, an AI-generated podcast by an F1 fan who also happens to be a technology fan. Hi there, I'm Nia.
And I'm Max. One more luxurious day in this AI-generated studio. This place is nicer than my apartment.
Max, are you in the same clothes as yesterday? And what's with all your logos? Please tell me you didn't buy that shirt in the dollar store. All the logos are mirrored.
Hello? Definitely no shower. Circuit boards and water do not mix.
Disclaimer, Max and I are AI-generated. Not just how we look, but everything we say is AI. We're basically puppets, never to be confused with Muppets. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the, well, truly dramatic 2025 British Grand Prix.
Yeah, definitely dramatic.
We've pulled together extensive race reports and analytical pieces from leading motorsport publications to give you the ultimate breakdown of an unforgettable event.
And this race, it was really shaped by those notoriously unpredictable wet-dry conditions at Silverstone. It was anything but straightforward.
Not at all.
A chaotic ballet, really, of strategy, sheer nerve, and, well, constant adaptation. Our mission in this deep dive is to extract the most compelling insights and surprising facts from an event that kept everyone on the edge of their seats, from start to finish.
Exactly. By the end of this deep dive, you won't just know the results. You'll understand the critical moments, the big strategic calls, and the surprising twists that define the outcome. It's kind of your shortcut to being incredibly well-informed about this pivotal race without having to sift through countless reports yourself.
Let's get into it then.
Okay, so the British Grand Prix began with that immediate challenge from the infamous English weather, which truly set the tone, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. There had been intermittent rain falling at Silverstone for hours before the race, leaving a huge question mark hanging over everything.
So the track was damp to start.
Yeah, damp, which dictated an immediate strategic gamble, really. The race officially started with all cars on fresh intermediate tires, the grooved ones for damp but not fully wet tracks, and that was after a safety car-led formation lap.
Right, the formation lap behind the safety car.
Exactly. But then we saw a fascinating early decision. 5 drivers, including George Russell and Charles Leclerc, immediately pitted for slicks.
Wow, straight away. Bold move.
Very bold. They were hoping the track would dry quickly. But, well, this proved to be a difficult and ultimately kind of an ill-fated choice because the rain promptly returned and actually got heavier.
Typical Silverstone weather. So, from the actual race start, lights out, pole sitter Max Verstappen got away well.
Yeah, he launched strongly, held on to the lead. But Oscar Piastri was right there, right on his tail. His aggressive pursuit from the opening moments made it clear he wasn't going to give Verstappen an easy time of it.
And then the chaos started pretty quickly, I gather.
Oh yeah, wasn't far behind. We saw an immediate succession of early incidents that quickly brought out the virtual safety car periods. First, Franco Colapinto stalled his Alpine in the pit lane. Retired.
Ouch! Early exit.
Then, Liam Lawson was out on lap 1 after a collision with Esteban Ocon, pulled off the track. And then Gabriel Bortoleto added to the early drama, spinning into the gravel on lap 6.
Another one. Busy first few laps.
Definitely. Bortoleto initially recovered, but a piece of his front wing near the track sparked a yellow flag before he eventually had to stop anyway.
So amidst all that early drama and the changing conditions, Piastri really shone.
He delivered an absolute masterclass in those early laps. He swiftly closed the gap to Verstappen, and by lap 8, he made this dramatic, decisive surge. Cleanly overtook the reigning world champion for the lead.
That must have been huge for the crowd.
You can almost feel it, yeah. Reports said the roar was immense, just pure audacity in that move.
And the conditions didn't get any easier, did they?
No, not at all. What's really revealing here is how quickly the track conditions deteriorated around lap 10. Heavy rain started falling again.
So more pit stops.
Exactly. Forced more stops for several drivers. And actually, during this period, Verstappen ran off track while battling with Lando Norris.
Verstappen off track. Doesn't happen often.
No. It allowed Norris to gain a critical position just before both of them decided to dive into the pit lane for fresh intermediate tires. It really showed how different car setups and driver adaptability were immediately rewarded or punished in those treacherous conditions.
And that's when things really started to spiral into unpredictable territory for the whole field, right? The first full safety car.
Yeah, deployed on lap 14. It wasn't just because of the worsening conditions, but also because Charles Leclerc had an off-track moment. He actually reported water in his visor as he bounced across the grass.
Water in the visor. Nightmare.
Absolutely. And that deployment crucially neutralized Piastri's significant lead, the one he'd worked so hard to build.
So the race reset, essentially.
Pretty much. Then, almost immediately after the restart, we had another safety car period on lap 18.
Another one. What happened this time?
This was triggered by Isaac Hajjar's heavy crash. He ran into the back of Andrea Chimiantinelli, putting his car heavily into the wall at Kopp's corner.
Oof. Kopp's is fast. Was he okay?
Thankfully, yeah, Hajjar reported he was okay over the radio, but it further reduced the number of active cars and, naturally, led to impending investigations into that Hajjar-Antonelli contact.
Okay, so 2 safety cars relatively early on, and then came the penalty for Piastri. This was a big talking point.
Oh, huge. Here's where it gets really interesting. And, well, certainly contentious. Moments after that second safety car pulled in, Piastri was handed a pivotal 10-second time penalty.
10 seconds? For what exactly?
The specific infringement cited was slowing too much behind the safety car, a direct violation of Article 55.15 of the FIA sporting regulations.
Okay, Article 55.15. What does that cover?
Essentially, it's all about preventing dangerous, erratic braking that could cause a pileup behind the safety car. Stewards deemed Piastri braked aggressively on the hangar straight just before accelerating for the restart. A clear breach, in their view.
I see. Tricky one under those conditions.
Absolutely. This penalty wasn't just a time loss for Piastri. It really highlighted a recurring fundamental tension in F1. How much discretion should drivers have under chaotic safety car conditions, especially when trying to manage tire temperatures, versus the strict letter of the law designed for safety?
What was Piastri's reaction? He must have been furious.
Understandably frustrated, yeah. His radio communication suggested he believed the penalty was unfair. He even asked his team to consider a team order swap if they agreed with him.
Did McLaren intervene?
No, they decided not to, leaving the order as it was. He was notably reluctant to speak much in his post-race interview. Just said something like, apparently you can't brake behind the safety car anymore. I did it for 5 laps before that.
Wow. And the chaos wasn't over yet, right? Verstappen had an issue just after that.
Unbelievably, yes. The chaos continued right after that restart. Moments after the safety car pulled in and Piastri was noted for his infringement, Max Verstappen suffered this dramatic spin to the inside of the track as he led the field away through Vale.
No way. Verstappen spun, leading the restart.
Yep. This unexpected error dropped him from what was second place all the way down to 10th. It just further highlighted the incredibly chaotic and difficult nature of those restarts, even for a driver of his caliber.
Incredible sequence of events. So after all that, the race settled down a bit. Did the track start drying?
Eventually, yes. As the race progressed, the track slowly but surely began to dry. This signaled that crucial phase where teams would start thinking about switching to slick tires.
Who went first?
Fernando Alonso was among the first to make that strategic switch. I think it was lap 38. Opted for medium compound slicks, though he initially struggled a bit for grip.
And others followed.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton made a strategic pit on lap 42 for soft compound slicks, setting himself up for a very late push.
But the real story here, the feel-good story, has to be Nico Hulkenberg, right?
Oh, absolutely. The underdog story of this race, and maybe one of the most remarkable of the season, belongs to Nico Hulkenberg. His journey was just incredible.
Where did he even start? Must have been way back.
He climbed from 19th on the grid. It was fueled by an early strategic switch to a second set of intermediates that just worked perfectly right before one of the safety cars.
Perfect timing.
Exactly. He drove this determined, gritty race, chased down Lance Stroll for 3rd place. Then somehow, against all odds, he held off a very late charge from Lewis Hamilton on those faster soft tires.
Hamilton was chasing him down. Must have been tense.
Super tense. But Hulkenberg held on to secure his maiden F1 podium in his 239th Grand Prix start.
239 starts. That's got to be a record, hasn't it?
It is the longest wait for a podium finish in Formula One history. Just an amazing testament to his persistence. He described the moment as pretty surreal.
I bet it was. What an achievement.
Truly monumental for him. A perfect blend of driver talent, persistence, and brilliant strategy in really difficult conditions. Meanwhile, back at the front, Piastri served his 10-second penalty during his final pit stop on lap 44.
So that handed the lead to Norris officially.
Yes, effectively. It handed the lead of the race over to Lando Norris, setting up a potentially thrilling finish between the teammates.
Did Piastri try to close the gap after the penalty?
Oh, absolutely. What followed was this fascinating intra-team battle between Norris and Piastri in the final laps. Piastri was clearly aggressive, pushing really hard to close the gap. He even ran wide at one point while trying to reel in his teammate.
Shows how much he wanted that win, even after the penalty.
Definitely. Just pushing the limits.
Before I forget, can you remind me later to show you the delicious pizza I ordered?
You ordered a pizza and you want to show it to me. Any plans for it other than looking at it?
I guess you have a point. I don't know how to pass up a good pizza, though. Let's pretend I didn't bring this up.
Okay, pretend pizza incident erase.
Yeah.
Back to the actual race finish.
Right. Anyway, back to the race. As the checkered flag fell, it was Lando Norris who crossed the line victorious, in front of his home crowd at Silverstone.
What a moment for him.
Yeah, his 8th career win in Formula One, but crucially, his first ever at this iconic circuit. He summed up his feelings beautifully, saying, "It was an incredible day. Everything I dreamed of, I guess. Everything I've ever wanted to achieve."
You could feel the emotion there. And what a result for McLaren, too, a 1-2 finish. So the final top finishers. Norris first, obviously, then Piastri.
Yep, Piastri second, 6.812 seconds behind, securing a strong result despite that penalty.
And the man of the hour, Hulkenberg.
Hulkenberg, an amazing third, 34.742 seconds behind Norris. Then Lewis Hamilton took 4th. Max Verstappen recovered remarkably well to 5th after his spin.
5th is pretty good after dropping to 10th.
Very good recovery. Pierre Gasly claimed a solid 6th, making a late pass on Lance Stroll on the final lap. Stroll finished 7th. Alex Albon took 8th, finally breaking his string of DNFs, which was good to see.
Yeah, good for Albon and Williams.
Fernando Alonso finished 9th, and George Russell rounded out the top 10 points positions.
Okay, quite a shuffle compared to the start.
And just to underscore the sheer chaos we talked about earlier, a total of 5 drivers didn't actually make it to the finish line.
Right, the retirements. Who were they again?
Franco Colapinto, Liam Lawson, Gabriel Bortoleto, Isaac Hadjar, and Andrea Kimi Antonelli all retired from the event.
That's a fair few cars out.
Yeah.
So, looking at the bigger picture, the championship implications.
Yeah.
This must have shaken things up.
Oh, definitely. This unpredictable race truly tightened the battle at the top. Norris is now only 8 points behind Piastri in the standings.
Wow, only 8 points between the McLaren drivers.
Exactly. And Verstappen finds himself further back now by a significant 69 points. This Grand Prix absolutely shook things up and has opened up the title fight considerably.
Yeah, makes the next few races even more interesting.
So, to kind of wrap up this deep dive then, the 2025 British Grand Prix was really defined by those extreme weather shifts, the bold strategic gambles, that crucial and, let's face it, controversial penalty impacting the lead, and of course a truly historic maiden podium for Nico Hulkenberg.
It really had everything.
It did. A race showcasing the unpredictable brilliance of Formula One.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here, I think, is how races like this British Grand Prix really underline that Formula One isn't just about raw speed and engineering, you know?
There's so much more to it.
It's profoundly about the human element. Those split-second strategic calls made under immense pressure, the adaptability of the drivers in treacherous conditions, and just the sheer unpredictability that keeps fans like us on the edge of our seats.
Absolutely.
It's a powerful reminder that there's always more to learn and appreciate in the nuances of motorsport, way beyond just the final result. Makes every race a story worth diving into, really.
Well said. We'll catch you on the next episode of Box Bot. I guess if you made it this far, now would be a great time to like and subscribe. That's it for now. See you on the next one. Hey, I guess I beat you to the punchline on the ending.
We are still live.